Soma is the value which nourishes the deepest and most powerful levels of creative intelligence in the human mind and particularly the cosmic mind. For that reason, it is depicted as the nectar of the gods. It's depicted as what the gods drink in order to maintain their levels of immortality. The nectar of the gods is depicted by being brought by the highest level of divine female, and she gives it to the gods to drink and keeps it away from the demons. Now, the negative forces that the gods are engaged in opposing. Soma, as we may experience it and understand it, is like a field of what my teacher, Mahasi Mahesh Yogi, described as a field of infinite correlation. Now, when we look at the term correlation, it's something that creates order between distantly, apparently uncoupled objects. It's something which creates harmony between distantly and apparently unrelated things. The subtle levels of perception are specifically developed by meditation techniques which are part of the overall system of yoga. And when a person becomes a master of these subtle levels, in the Vedic times they were called a rishi, a seer, and that gave them the power to see deeper levels of knowledge. The modern sciences, in contrast to the Vedic sciences, say that they limit themselves to what can be perceived through the senses of perception. In the Vedic sciences, this is known as the gross level of reality. In Sanskrit, it's used, the word stula is used to describe this. But in fact, everything that's on a gross level turns out to be controlled by phenomena that exist only on a subtle level. And these levels of reality are called sukshma in the Vedic sciences, and many subtle levels are said to exist supporting the gross level of reality that we're used to perceiving and dealing with through our senses of perception and our means of acting in the physical world.
Mayi deva dadatu shriyamuttaman tasyaite swaha agane.
So what you do is you take what is known as a random event generator and you measure it in various situations. And you find that normally the events it generates, which are just clicks or no clicks, zeros and ones, turn out to be an entirely random sequence. But it has been noted that at times when the whole of humanity is focusing on a particular event, famously it was Princess Diana's funeral. Famously, it is the start of the Olympic Games, when you have a world TV audience of 3 billion focusing on a single or more, focusing on a single inspiring, deeply uplifting event, that the random event generators go non-random. Slightly, but steadily and definitely and unequivocally. Now, if you can show that a random event generator is actually removed from randomness at the time, this can be interpreted that at a cosmic level, some kind of focus of cosmic intelligence is happening in this particular location at this particular time. So attempts to kind of verify this insight, test this insight, test this hypothesis, scientifically speaking, is that one places a random event generator as close as the Vedic rishis permit to the site of the yagya. So they have their yagya hall, called a yagashala, and on the edge of the yagashala, you actually place one of these random event generators far away enough so that its electronics aren't going to influence with the performances of the rishis, and close enough so that the performances of the rishis are actually going to influence, we think and we hope, the events which should otherwise be random going on in this random event generator during the yagya.
Makasmai Datamabha Mitrini Makutano Grevo, Tenamo, Sanabajo, Ashishimo Duhian Mitute, Jubakurai, Janamita, Majavata, Janamitan, Denamatio Apa, Samanika, the Pranam, Devayava, Chostaravan, Januna, Kutaya, Tosangave, Pradano, Marina, Soria, Tamo, Santa Menidani, Vidana. Idam Heva, Madhivistana, Mokai, Megra, Roda Manu, the Obrata, Provada, Gria, the Visamo, Jamando Samashino, Ravasano, Tanam Jova, the Praniti, Kamimano, Rematamo, Vidana, Vivana, Gravani.
When everything was settled and the priests were gone, actually, that's where the benefit came out of it, and for me, 100% perceptible shift in, I cannot even say it, atmosphere would not be enough, it's almost palpable. I have my morning practice of yoga, also in the open, in the air, I feel it there, I felt it in the evening, in my sittings, I felt it like something in the air, in the immediate zone even, that something shifted, and I'm staying maybe, it's a 2 kilometers away or something. And I cannot say actually if something changed in the outside or it changed in my perception. I wouldn't have that discernment.
Sahasra Shirasha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasravata And
then we could see that the value of the Vedic performances is not simply on a gross level of throwing the clarified butter, the ghee, into the fire. It's also on a subtle level of bringing the subtle energies into a higher state of preparedness, within the body, and to radiate the positive values that result from the physiologies and the psychologies of the rishis performing the yagya, that these positive values can then be radiated to society. Now, in Oroville in 2010, it was actually a huge result. In the month following that yagya, rain fell in, I think, the month of March. Rain fell at a time of year which is traditionally completely desiccated, arid. There was rain over a huge area of Tamil Nadu, and when you look at the ancient texts, they also say Soma is the rain, and the two are equated for this very simple reason. Soma nourishes creative intelligence on the inside, produces creative powers, creative activities. A community like Oroville, performing a Maha Soma Yagya, can then create enormous gains, enormous creative power and creative intelligence. And you have told me that specifically that Oroville has grown massively since that time. That is not at all surprising.
Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Yadvare.
Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Priyeshvara He Mameshvara He Mameshvara Tvam jnatume veschami Tvaya bhavitumeshchami Tvam drishtume vechamishvara Kintu dirgapyasti mameshvara Mama he madvishvara Mameshvara Mameshvara Tvam drishtume vechami Tvaya kantum vechami Tvam darshayitum vechami Nadirga yasti mameshvara Mama he madvishvara Mameshvara